What about the biographies of the eight persons? If you read Genesis carefully once again, you may be surprised that these biographies say very little about the works of these men. What mostly has been recorded is their life, their living, and their way with God. The Bible tells us little of what Adam did, but it does say how long Adam lived. 930 years. If we were to write Adam's biography, we would need hundreds of pages to tell about his work and all that he did. But Genesis only tells us how Adam walked in the presence of God. We came to Abel and then to Enoch. Genesis does not say anything about Enoch except that he walked with God and eventually was taken to God. This is wonderful. I do hope that I could be such a person, doing nothing and being nothing, just walking with the Lord until the day I am taken to be with Him. You may ask, did Noah do something? Yes, he did some work, but not according to himself nor for himself. He did everything according to God's revelation and for God's purpose. We go on to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. It is hard for us to see that Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob did good works. It seems that Jacob's son, Joseph, did something, but if we know the record, we will understand that Joseph's work was the reigning part of Jacob's life. Joseph was reigning as a king. Strictly speaking, Genesis is neither a book of creation nor a book of biographies. It is a book of life. God uses the record of creation to show the matter of life. God uses the biographies of eight persons to show how He needs a life to fulfill His purpose. In this book, the last life was the life of Jacob, one who was eventually called Israel, the Prince of God. This is God's intention, to have an Israel. We all need to be brought to the place where God can consider us to be His Israel. This is wholly a matter of life. So Genesis is focused on life, and this life is Christ. The contents. Now we come to the contents of Genesis. God's desire and purpose. Chapter 1 verse 1 to chapter 2 verse 3. God's creation not only fulfills His desire and accomplishes His purpose, but also reveals His desire in the universe and manifests His purpose in eternity. Anything we make expresses our desire. Although we may not say much, the thing we make manifests our purpose. When God created the heavens, the earth with so many items, and eventually man in His own image and with authority over all created things, He surely had a purpose. By His creation, we can see that God had a desire and a purpose. God's original creation, motive. According to Ephesians chapter 1 verse 5 and 9, the motive of God's original creation was His desire and pleasure. God carried out the original creation to fulfill His desire and to satisfy His pleasure. He desired and liked to create, so He did it to please Himself.